Hey everybody, I'm Tristan, and today we're going to talk about my dissertation and where I've been going. So, I said there was going to be a monthly update on what's been going on. Dissertation progress is a little slow right now because of, well, work that I'm doing with Step Back, with my job that started up in September, but also there's been some sort of blocks in like scheduling and how to make everything work in a way that is efficient. So the first item I actually have to talk about is monthly goals. So I am now in a situation where a lot of the things that I do are on monthly cycles. My weeks are actually not that structured. Step Back videos, Historian IRL videos, are filmed in month-long segments. So right now, the Step Back videos that are coming out, the one that you're watching today, is the first in my second batch of filming that I did back in September. The last 5 videos before that were all filmed in August. So I do have like a rotation of Historian IRL that goes on a month basis. Then I have my dissertation, and my dissertation at the moment has, a deadline sometime in 2019, 2020, so it still feels far off, but it's going to come up fast. And so I have to think about what is a way that I can making progress in my dissertation part of a routine that works on a month-long basis. So I'm going to, at the top of the month, lay out some goals, some dissertation goals, and make those the things I'm working on. Right now, I still have this proposal that's stuck, and I need to get that passed before I can do seriously committed research, but I'm working on it, and so far things are going all right. So I am working on my proposal, and my proposal does involve is getting to this phase where it's near the completion, and I need to draw some boxes around what my chapters are going to be. So when you first set out to do a dissertation, you typically are thinking that you can do anything, and that there's tons and tons of things and you're going to solve the world. And really, when it comes to a dissertation, at some point you have to sit down and be like, all right, I need to write a 300-page monograph based on your research that has to come out in a time span of a few years. What can you do? That's basically the subject of most of the edits I'm going through right now, is going through each chapter, turning them into stable case studies, specific databases, specific discussion topics, and just focus on those. So that's the main thing that I'm working through at the moment, is going through each chapter, finding out what it is that the chapter is going to be about, what the story is going to be, and having it ready so that it feels very concrete and ready to go once I go to my defense. The last thing is that I'm working on Wikipedia research, and this is something that I've been doing for a while, but I finally have made some progress on. So Wikipedia is a huge website, but one of the things that it does, making the argument in my dissertation, is that Wikipedia functions as the general historical consensus on a given topic at any given time. It's a very big website. It has lots of editors. People can edit any time, depending on the page. There's a whole bunch of architecture involved that I'm going to have to write about in my dissertation. But you can make the argument that Wikipedia is our given idea of how something works at the time of the edit. And the best thing about that is that Wikipedia keeps a history of every single edit, who edited it, what time, and what is the state of the page at any given period. And so, since I'm studying how our knowledge changes over time, I'm using the Wikipedia database to kind of tell that story. And so I scraped a long time ago, back in maybe June, a list of all of the edits on the Wikipedia page for 9/11, the main 9/11 Wikipedia page, which go back to 2005. I have about 15,000 edits from then to the end of May 2017. And I've made a few calculations. I tracked all of the edits. I have, for anybody who does not have an account, it leaves their IP address, and the IP address I was able to use a web service to look up and find what the location of that IP address was. So every one of those IP addresses has a location that I can check out, so I can make like a little map. A bunch of other data like how big was the change of the page in bytes, how many edits there were on a given day, things like that. And I have this database now of every single day between the 2 points, how many edits there were on that day and what the net change was once you like add up all the additions and subtractions. I'm finding some interesting things to check out. So one, there are times where there's a lot of edits, including one day where there were over 2,000 edits of the page on one day. So these large volumes of edits, and also the net change. How big was the addition or removal? And I have some pretty interesting things to check out about that, because I can look for big clusters of changes, which I can then go and take a look at them, see what the actual text says. I can look at times when there were a lot of edits, but also a lot of net change, which might imply that there was a major revision of the article, or where there were relatively few edits, but a lot of change, which also could be like some sort of decision-making process that the people who are organizing the edit of the page have decided that there's something that needs to be changed. The other thing that I could talk about would be times when there are lots of changes, but not much net change. And what I'm finding that these are linked to are times when the 9/11 Wikipedia page is made the Wikipedia front page, like featured article, which happened a few times on usually the 11th of September or something between those two dates. And so there's a lot of those to check out because they are periods of basically major vandalism. And the Wikipedia vandalism I actually find really interesting because I'm going to be talking about competing narratives, people competing for what the major story is going to be. There are periods where I find edits that are basically like attempts by a whole bunch of 9/11 truthers, for example, to add things to the article. Sometimes it's just like innocuous vandalism, but sometimes it's like 9/11 truthers trying to change the article to fit their narrative. I think those are interesting, and I think I can correlate those to interesting time periods. So that's the progress I've made on my dissertation so far. I'll have another update for you at the beginning of November to see how October's been. Until next week, I'm Tristan, a historian IRL. Like, share, and subscribe.